Here, you can exercise your rights to freedom every day without leaving your home. We don't just say, we do. It's the Stain City way.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Monday edition of Real Talk with me, Anele, on the channel where the stage is yours. With the holidays just around the corner, family time and romantic relationships during the festive season present plenty of opportunities to rekindle our affection for each other. For all of you lovebirds, this may be the festive season which brings you to get down on one knee and pop the question, put a ring on it, or it might be the time to do some introspection and face head on whatever challenges the year has presented for you and your significant other, so that you can begin 2018 more dedicated and on the same page. Those of you in intercultural and interracial relationships have to figure out which family traditions to celebrate and which ones to compromise on, if at all. And let's be real, for some, this time of the year means complications, frustrations, and heartache. If you need advice, have a comment or question for our relationship panel featuring our Real Talk love coach, Kofi, I suggest you start tweeting us, Facebooking, or message or send your voice notes via WhatsApp right now. It is Monday, and always after an eventful and historic weekend in showbiz, we catch up on entertainment news with our entertainment commentator and blogger, Fikile Mbalula.
Hey, hey.
You like Dr. Phil, only for entertainment.
I know, hey, isn't it?
It's like, makes sense now, like two and two together. So much happened.
Yeah. I mean, the big story, obviously, is our boy Casper.
You can brag.
Of course I can brag.
Listen, the last time he was here, I said to him, Phil, will Casper fill up F&B Stadium? And he said, yes, he will. What did you say?
I said, yes, he will, but he might not hit the target, but he will get more than 60,000 in there. And he did. 68,000 attended, and I'm told that 72,000 bought the tickets. I need to say this, though, because a lot of people were asking me via Twitter.
That picture, sorry.
Yes.
That picture, okay, fine. Now, it's a lot, right?
Yes.
Because when I first saw it, I was like, okay, wow. Like, even the top tier was full.
Look, it looks amazing. And the thing is that, I mean, like, the way that it was shot, what you don't see is that at the back of the stage, I mean, like, people keep on comparing it to Taylor Swift concert, but the Taylor Swift concert, the stage was in the middle. So it was like a 360 kind of thing. But so with this, the picture's taken from the other side so that you can see.
And there wasn't anyone behind it because it makes no sense.
Yeah,
okay.
Obviously.
You said via Twitter?
Yeah. So I was saying via Twitter that we need to make it very clear that the numbers that we're getting obviously are coming from Casper's camp. They haven't been independently verified. You know, I sent an email to Ticket Pro and what's the other one? Ticket, and they still haven't responded by the time I got here.
You sent an email?
No, because you need to verify these things.
I love you for that.
You need to verify, because everybody's talking about, are these numbers accurate, whatever, and it's always best if you are able to say independently that they are. But there's no reason to doubt them, because when you look at the pictures and you look at when you talk to people who were there, I mean, it looks like they did that.
Look, even if it's not 68,000, it's definitely more than the 60,000 that that you said. I looked at it, and like I said, that picture for me, I was just like, okay, why are there so many? Like, it's a lot. It's like, it's like, there was a point I was like, no man, Maracas, give Photoshop, you know? But then I realized that's what it looked like, and there he is. And I love the fact that AKA tweeted it as well. Yeah. Is that real or is that fake news?
No, that's very real. That's very real. Okay. I think he tweeted powerful.
Yes.
But you know what? I want us to be very careful. I mean, this is a momentous moment, yes, as we can celebrate this, but I also want us to be very careful in this euphoria, that we don't forget that for Casper to do this, he needed a lot of help.
Of
and
course.
a lot of that help came from brands and sponsors. Yeah. Whereas with international artists, they don't need that. It's just people going out there and buying tickets. Yeah. So we need to encourage our fans in South Africa to actually start buying into a South African brand and buy into a South African celebrities, so that Casper, when he's going to fill Moses Mabhida, he's not going to be needing sponsors and brands to be involved in that, because that 68,000 can easily be met if we all just pay to go see him. But also,
let's not forget that international acts also need sponsors, guys. They don't do it by themselves. And I mean, I hear you comparing it to Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift album, is it Reputation? It sold 1.2 million in 1 week. Like, let's
but what I'm saying is, because what happens in South Africa a lot of the time is that we celebrate the optics, and then we forget that we actually have to get up and go do something about it.
We go to a wedding,
trendy,
and then we don't stick for the marriage.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So we need to be very careful that in this euphoria, we don't forget to tell our South African fans that, you know what, we need to do more. You need to, next time when this happens, it shouldn't just start and end with Casper. It needs to happen with all the artists, that it becomes a habit within our industry that we actually pay to see our artists.
So round of applause to you, Casper. The stage was amazing, your performance was amazing, and well done for doing that. Let's move on. I'm confused. What is Beam Digital?
Beam Digital. So, AKA teamed up with a couple of investors, a couple of his own little Guptas, to start a technology company. From what I understood about the company is a technology company that's going to be a platform that creates content and celebrities and helps celebrities monetize that content. So basically, in layman's terms, it's more like YouTube, Facebook, and influential in one place. Does that make sense to you?
No.
So say you are Anele. As a celebrity, you have a certain following on Twitter, on Facebook, and you have a YouTube channel and stuff like that, right?
Yes.
You are looking to get in touch with brands globally that can help you elevate that, or you can be a brand ambassador for that.
So
whatever.
it's like VOOV.
It's like VOOV, but bigger and with more resources, because they're looking at also partnering with insurance companies, if they haven't already. I might need to be corrected on that, where they're going to have this insurance services that's going to be helping artists, so that if you're an artist in the industry, you can sign up to their service, and then once something happens to you, you know that you're covered with that.
Because artists can't get insured the normal way?
I guess so. Because I mean, the way that he explained it at the launch, he said that he was inspired by what had happened with Mendoza when Mendoza passed away, and which is I mean, to be fair, that's a common thing in South Africa, especially within the black entertainment.
I mean, Joe Mafela, there was an issue
you know what I mean?
with how much he was worth when he passed away.
Yeah. So and you should know this, that every time when you go to the bank for us to try and get something, there's always these hurdles that you have to go through, because a lot of us work from contract to contract. We don't have long-term contracts. So if you have to prove your employment, you only have a one-year contract. It becomes very difficult.
Do you know what? I'm being honest with you. I'm very confused. I don't see what the upside is for anyone who would join it besides AKA. So I would have to like sit down and research and like perhaps even like do a telephonic with him and be like, hey, yo, buddy, what's this about? Because I am not hearing what you're saying.
I'm glad that you're saying that, because like even at the launch, I tweeted and said, this is so confusing.
It is.
And I wish that they would actually be going out there, because I'd hope that on the following day, they'll be on all the radios and doing all these interviews to explain this.
Because what is it? Are you selling me a financial foundation? Are you selling me a place where I can exist, which is Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, where I can push my content? Are you selling me international ties? And how are you selling me international ties when you yourself haven't like properly exhausted
Exactly.
them?
You know, somebody actually asked that very same question. How do I trust you to do that for me when you haven't done it for yourself?
That's what someone says. And then when you've done it, come and maybe, you know.
I think they desperately need to get down and actually find a way of making this as simple as possible. Because I think, you know what, I think the other problem with it is that they're trying to put their hands into too many pots with this. Do you know what I mean? And because there's been TV and Beam Talk and Beam this and Beam whatever within that umbrella, okay? I suppose when they're sitting there and pitching it, it made sense, but I'm thinking to the consumer, it's going to be very confusing, as you are confused, as I was confused.
Maybe we're just getting the messaging wrong, because when you speak of Beam TV and Beam Talk and Beam Radio, whatever, now it makes sense a little bit, because I do believe that everyone is a content maker, but then you shouldn't only angle it towards celebrities, then you must angle it to everyone, because South Africans are content makers. If you look at our meme culture, if you look at our YouTube culture, if you look at the videos that make it viral, from Usiyabonga, the Xhosa kid is always imitating his mom.
But I think maybe they think in terms of their unique selling point, because like if everybody else is creating a platform where just anybody can be on, maybe they are saying that for us, we're gonna make it a much more specialized service for a particular cluster of our industry.
Look, let's read about it. Quickly before you go, we've got 30 seconds left. Still on AKA, he retweeted Bonang saying, without money, you can't have fun. I didn't know about this. Are we upset? Are we upset?
Well, I'm not. You know what? I couldn't care less. He's got money, he's obnoxious about it. That's him. That's what we know him for. So, you know what? I don't know why everybody's just so triggered by this guy.
Was the backlash? Were people upset?
Yes, people are very upset that, you know, just because you've got money to afford those things, don't look down on people who don't have the money or the resources to do that. And fun and excitement is not only based on financial, affordability and all of that. People have fun. I mean, we grew up using Itina without toys, you understand? And we had a happy thing in childhood.
I agree with that because I was like a half rural kid because I loved it and that's where we went. But also I did grow up in the suburbs. But as much as we grew up with Itina, guys, if somebody gave you 10 rand,
well, it's I get it.
The pot
I
not
get
pop?
it. I get it. Yes, it pops.
Was it not ice lollies for everyone? Was it not HPC? So like,
but it goes to the conversation that we had last week when I was saying that we define our own type of celebrity, and our own type of celebrity is not about the bling. It's not about you telling me that I've got so much money, I'm looking down on you. Casper worked this week simply because he was like, this is between us. This is us doing this together. He didn't sit up there and say, you know what? I am the and you all are just gonna bow to me and give you your money. He didn't do that. The reason why he was successful is because he connected with the people. And with AK, if he keeps on doing this thing of like, looking down on people and spiting people or whatever, he's not gonna go very far. I
just feel like it works for both of them separately.
I suppose.
I really feel that like the worst thing we can do for humans, as South Africans, and for people watching us as kids is tell everyone that they have to be the same.
Yeah, but at the same time, Anele, I'm going to tell you this every time I come here. The tide has changed in South Africa. The type of celebrity that we celebrate in South Africa is not the same as the type of celebrity we were celebrating 5 years ago. Right now, people want to connect with you. Right now, people don't care about the weaves and the blinkers. People want to say, you look like me, you sound like me.
Oh, just go home. Just go home. Thank you so much, my guest, Fikile Mbalula, our entertainment commentator, always up to date, eh? Don't we love him? After the break, it's the ladies first, talking relationships in all their forms during the holiday season. We'll start with clinical psychologist and author of Making It Work When You Work a Lot, Nqakula, I love her, and life coach who I also love, Paula Quincy. They'll be on the couch. Let's talk about it. Come back. Welcome back to Real Talk. So with our hectic lifestyles, many couples are not used to having a lot of time together, which might be strange during the holidays. Conflict will arise, and how you handle these will determine a lot for your future. To help me answer you and discuss the many aspects that might cause rifts and unhappiness in relationships, I'm now joined by psychologist Nqakula, who's been here before, so she's a repeat offender, and Paula Quincy, relationship expert, who's been on my radio show, life coach, and she's the author of 23 Tips to Having Better Relationships, amongst other titles. Ladies, thank you so much for coming through.
Good to be here. Thank you.
First things first, Kosi, last time you didn't mention the fact that you have a book, Making It Work When You Work a Lot.
That's not me at all.
It's not you. Did you not write that?
Not yet.
Is it a lie? Because I was like, she was here for an entire hour and she didn't say that to me.
No. I haven't written any book.
Okay.
No.
But Paula, you've written books.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Now that we've cleared that up. So I watched this lady on TV, Esther Perel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And she said something, and I went and I found the quote, and I was like, this is how I want to kick this discussion off with you guys, because I don't know, like it struck me, but I didn't know why it intrigued me so much. It says, today we turn to one person to provide what an entire village once did, a sense of grounding, meaning, and continuity. At the same time, we expect our committed relationships to be romantic as well as emotionally and sexually fulfilling. It is any wonder that so many relationships crumble under the weight of it all. Kosi, what?
Yeah, that makes sense. I can totally identify with that, because there's also part of the problem. I think the back hand of that is the fact that we put so much expectations on relationships, on people to do for us what we many a times are not willing to do for ourselves. So we outsource the things that are very important to us. And I always say to people, if it is important,
do it yourself.
Let's watch your energy invested in it.
Okay.
But what we do is we expect other people to do for us what we are, and that is the recipe for disappointment.
So, Paula, do you think that friendships work out long? Because, I mean, I've had girlfriends who I've been friends with since I was 5 years old. Yet, I can't tell you that I've had a relationship when I was 5 years old, and now I'm 33. So, is it because we expect less of our friends? That's why. So, like, if your friend doesn't pitch for, like, at a party that you guys were meant to go to, you're just like, friend, you know what? It's okay. Let's catch up for breakfast tomorrow. But say your romantic partner does that, then there's a big offense to it. Like, they've offended me. Do you think that is the issue when it comes to relationships?
I think it's a combination of expectations, and we can tend to have very high expectations when it comes to our romantic partners versus our friends.
But
we're more forgiving.
Well, I'm not sleeping with my friend.
I think you need to choose.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be overlap, but there also needs to be special areas. So there are things that, as you say, you don't sleep with your friend. So that's an important area of speciality that needs to be very special and important, and it needs to work there, because otherwise you're just friends. You're no longer partners or lovers.
If that friends with benefits.
Yes. If that part doesn't work, then the rest you can kind of spread around amongst other people, you know, that are equally important. The problem is when we throw everything on one person, which is unfair.
Okay. So what I see as well in relationships, and a lot of people on Facebook were saying this, is that, you know, the term "I need space." You seldom hear it from women. Are we painted as clingy, or are we really clingy?
I think we've been painted as clingy.
Okay.
And potentially because in the past or generations before us, the woman stayed at home and took care of the home.
Yeah.
While the man went out and worked. Whereas nowadays, modern day, women are independent and they're forging their own careers and their own paths, and they are becoming less reliable on a man to take care of their needs. They're becoming far more independent. But I think on top of that, we live in a world of instant gratification. And we want things and we want them now, and if we don't get it, we'll move on to the next.
So we were clingy because of an economic state and not necessarily an emotional one. Is that what you're saying to me?
Yeah.
But also, that said, I will say that women have a much more emotional currency, relational currency, whereas men have a much more physical relational currency. And don't shoot me down. This is just a generalization,
no, I'm interested.
But I'm saying just from an evolutionary point of view, we need to remember that as much as we think we are smart and we have evolved and we are modern and postmodern, we also are instruments of nature. There are things we are a preset. We are preset in certain ways, and those things we can't outdo.
That's my default setting.
Yeah, but as much as I agree with Paula, there is social evolution, but there is also that genetic evolution, which is about the survival of species through the male and the female, and there are certain things that need functions that need to take place through us. So there are things that we will not change. But let me also say about space.
Come through.
So, I think that the whole thing about needing space is one area of relationship that has been contaminated. And I think it's an important need to honor. But the problem with needing space is that we don't make it part of the natural flow, ebb and flow of the relationship. It is, I need to get away from this. I say, we actually need to have, like, can I just be?
Yeah.
And that's just normal part of the relationship. Let's even say, even in marriage, it mustn't be a fed-up leave.
Yeah.
That's the problem with needing space.
Okay.
Is we leave it too long.
Yeah, by the time you need space, you should have been taking your natural gaps already.
By the time you've been, you know, you're suffocating.
So let's put it in practice, because I love the fact that we can all sit here and talk about this. So if I now leave at 6 o'clock and I go home, and me and my boyfriend, what do we sit down and say, every now and then you go do this, you go do that, or like, somebody's
going to need the space. And it's that we need to have the relationship where I can articulate that to you. And I do understand that part of the intimacy of relationship is that we want to be needed. And therefore it feels like a rejection. But part of the conversations that need to happen in the relationship is that it's not about me rejecting you. It's not an against you need, it's a for me
thing. We're going to take a break. Paula, when we come back, I want you to walk us through not being clingy. Like, I know clingy is a terrible word.
It is.
In the absence of a better one for it, because that's what we're deemed as women sometimes. And sometimes men can be clingy as well.
Absolutely.
It's like, what are the practical steps? Not like the, you know, ideological, oh, you know, in the perfect world, we're not running through a field of flowers. You know, just like the practical ones that you could start doing for yourself today. So there's a saying that goes, people make time for the things that matter most to them. Is it true or is it false? How do you find balance in your lives, and what is your most effective conflict resolution strategy? Send us your 20-second WhatsApp voice notes and tweet us. Be sure to come back for more with the ladies. They'll be joined by our regular relationship coach, Kofi of 40 Poteng. He's here. Come back to us. And welcome back to Real Talk with me, Anele. My guests are here to help and advise us today. Life coach Paula Quincy is here, clinical psychologist Kosi Gianni is here, as well as our favorite relationship coach and author of Notes to My Sister, Let Him Serve You, Kofi of 40 Poteng. Trust me, we grilled him last time on this Let Him Serve You title of his, and he came out on top of things. So we're not going to go down that route. We now trust him, okay? We put him through the trenches, and he earned our trust. So here we go. Paula, before the break, I said to you, steps to not being clingy, practically.
So I think, you know, every couple is different and every individual is different. So things such as going to gym as your me time and being able to take some time out to recharge self and reconnect with self. It could be going for a run. It could be going for a walk with the dogs. It could be reading.
All of this is exercise, hey, Paula.
Okay, bubble bath and glass of wine. Okay.
Okay, Kofi, you're nodding a lot. Come through.
Well, for me, I would say it starts with self. So start with self-love. And just like Paula was saying, find things that are important to you that make you feel good about yourself. I actually posted the other day that one should feed oneself love so much that no one else can ever starve you of it. And that's a critical thing here.
That's
So,
what Kosi was saying.
yeah, so if you can feed yourself love on a consistent basis, then your partner doesn't necessarily have to step in and fill you up regularly. You fill yourself up, you come to him full, he goes to you full, and you guys can now pour into each other from that overflow of love and that abundance of joy.
Not this you complete me stuff.
You
Come
complete me
complete. And as much as, look, I also say by the same token, we are work in progress. However, we need to do the work we need to do for ourselves, with ourselves, so that we don't make it someone else's burden and we project our own needs onto somebody, which we are not, you know, which are essentially ours to meet and not others. Yeah.
What was the most interesting observation, Kosi, about yourself when you are in a relationship? Like something that enlightened you when you're like, oh wow, Kanti, I'm like this.
Okay. So one of the things, and it's interesting because we were just chatting about it, she's an imago relationship therapist, which I studied, but I also was in imago relationship therapy.
What is that?
It's a type of it's a type of modality or a form of therapy that is used particularly with couples. So imago relationship therapy.
Okay.
The word imago comes from image.
Okay.
So it is about that image of our parents and our parental relationships that we are seeking to complete, the healing work that we're seeking to complete with and through our partners.
Okay.
And one of the things for me was to recognize, I am particular, and I know even now, I am particularly sensitive to what I experience as rejection and abandonment, because those are my father issues.
Okay.
So now I know about it, I'm clearer about it, I can articulate it, and I know what to own as mine. And I can have that conversation with a partner that explains that I know what's mine, but this is what's happening in this space and this is what is triggering for me.
So when you say I know what to own as mine, you then can pinpoint that this partner of mine is not the reason I'm feeling this way. They are simply now the vehicle, right? To bring the same feelings back to me that I never dealt with.
Yes. That I've dealt with, but I recognize.
Okay.
And it's work in progress. So it's never going to be gone, like, you know, gone and forgotten, because it's part of what has made me who I am up until today. But it's something that I'm conscious of and have worked on and continue to be aware of.
You know, you just touched on something, and I always see it on, you know, obviously social media has made us aware of things and people that I would never meet, but there we are having conversations. Is the term father issues or daddy issues is thrown around a lot. But here's what I notice is that people don't realize that daddy issues doesn't mean he left or he was absent or you've never met him. You could still have daddy issues with the father who was present and who was providing.
Emotionally absent. My dad was there. He was there, but he was emotionally absent. He was in his own world, doing his own stuff, and I was constantly, you know, craving my father's attention, and together with a whole lot of other things that happened in the family where they left and left me to live with my grandparents, which also left me feeling like I wasn't the love child. I was, you know, I felt rejected and abandoned by my family. It had nothing to, that was not the intention, but that's how, as a 4-year-old child.
It felt.
As a 4-year-old child, that's how I felt about it.
You know, going back to what we were speaking about earlier about clinginess, for example, there's a flip side to that coin. Because for guys, sometimes there are mommy issues as well. So I'll use myself as an example. I was my mother's firstborn, which meant that she wanted to always, you know, be around me to mother me.
Firstborn, first son?
First son.
Oh, tis.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there was always that need to be there and hover and all that. And for me, I was always very independent and I wanted that space. So now going to a relationship, I already have that to deal with. I have those memories to deal with that I need to work through. And if I meet a woman who is giving me the same energy that my mom gave me, I start seeing that as a problem, start seeing it as being clingy. But it's not necessarily her being clingy. I need to resolve these issues over here so that I can more effectively relate and communicate with her.
And those things then become the emotional triggers in our relationship with our respective partners. And it plays out in when we get stuck in the conflict cycle or the power struggle cycle.
Wow, like, evidently I'm blown away, right? Because we always taught, you know, women want to marry their fathers and, you know, men want to find somebody like their mothers. You are completely dispelling that.
That's the funny thing, because we do look to our mothers as the template. Remember, you've lived with this woman your whole life. She's been loved to you your whole life. So that's the first real template that you have. But now, it's not a perfect template. No human being is perfect. So there are going to be issues as much as there are things that you love about her. Now, when you meet someone else and you're working off this template, you need to remember that she also comes with her set of faults. And some of them may mirror the very things that attracted you to her, because your mom has those qualities. So as long as you have that consciousness and that awareness, it makes it a little easier for you to work through your issues. And like you both said earlier, relationships are, or I believe it was you, relationships can be there to heal the both of you. And it's not just about what can the other person do for me, how can the other person heal me, how can I also heal this person and heal myself in the process.
Okay, so I have this thing at the back of my head all the time when it comes to work now, not relationships, where I say information doesn't make people work, systems make people work, right? So without, I think you guys might invoice me when I ask you, when I asked you to do this, because I was like, I just feel like you opening another door in the house that I've lived in my entire life. So personally for yourself, and I'd like, you know, you watching as well to do this, should you not write down and in a way and be like, okay, fine, my father made me feel like this, my mother made me feel like this. I liked it when my father did, things like that, so you can see where your daddy and mommy issues lie, so you can see if those are triggers in somebody else. Is that like an exercise you guys do when you're meeting with clients?
Yeah, so in particular when I'm working with a couple, I do that kind of work with them. But there's some very quick little tips that you can look at. So have you ever heard, or has anyone ever said to you, oh, you sound just like your mother or just like your father? Because when you open your mouth, those words come out that your mother or your father said to you. It's like that's part of them that's ingrained in us, that's that blueprint that you were talking about. And we identify with those traits in our partner, both consciously and subconsciously. And there's that saying about there's no such thing as the perfect person or the perfect marriage. It's about how perfect can you be for each other. Because you're meeting each other in that same space. We call it childhood wounding in imago therapy. Where you were wounded at that same level is where you actually identify with that person. That's why you don't fall in love with every single person that comes across your path. You only identify with that person that has the same traits and the same wounding or wounded on the same level as you from childhood.
Okay. Thanks to Paula for coming through. Yo, guys, today you guys are coming like an ocean here at high tide. Thanks so much to Paula Quincy for sharing her relationship expertise with us. Kosi Gianna will be back a little bit later in the program. After the break, I want to hear from the men, especially in studio. You were watching. What am I saying? What are your struggles and biggest relationship fears this time of the year? There we go. Kofi and I will be joined by Because Black curator, musician, and wordsmith Hakeem Anderson Lesolang on his 200 Truths About Love. Come back to us. My mind is blown today. You with Real Talk on SABC 3, the stage is yours. So when is enough enough? Conflict and heartache is caused by infidelity, no matter the time of the year. Why can we not be honest and say what needs to be said when it needs to be said? Men, what is this thing of disappearing in December? Cheating means different things to different people, but ultimately the hurt caused to both women and men creates a vicious cycle of adults who cannot trust. Joining Kofi and I now is Hakeem Anderson Lesolang, who's also known as Flex Boogie in the hip-hop circles. He prides himself with redefining black love with his truths in ode to women who invest in their becoming. He recently released a collection of essays and poetry titled 200 Truths About Love. Hakeem, welcome to Real Talk.
Thank you very much for having me.
200 truths.
Yes.
Give me the most important one of the 200.
How many ones till the one?
How many ones till the one?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, walk me through that.
That's one that pops to mind.
Okay.
How many ones till the one? How many lovers, how many people are you going to take into your confide, into your space, into your energy, into your vortex, into your good, into your value, until you decide me?
Does there have to be a specific number?
When will you decide me? When will you decide I'm going to take time to invest in me?
Oh, the one
Yes.
you now. Okay. So, and ultimately then, what you're saying is, when you make yourself the one, then it is easy for you to become the one.
It's easy for you to become the one. When will you choose yourself? You choose all of these people. You choose all of these things. You choose all of these relationships. How many people know your story? How many people know you intimately? How many people know you better than you know you? You know, so how many of those relationships are you going to go into until you start investing in your relationship?
How do you know when you know yourself, though? Because it's nice. It's a fairy tale.
It's a never-ending journey. When you start enjoying being in your own skin, being yourself, being your own person, I think that's when the journey starts being fun.
Coffee?
Abraham Hicks has a term or rather a phrase that I really like. He says, follow your bliss.
Follow your bliss.
Follow your bliss.
Yes.
So if you can find your bliss and follow your bliss, that's when I believe you start loving you. Exactly like Hakeem was saying, we tend to prioritize others. We've been taught to do so. Once again, based on what the ladies were saying earlier, we are products of imitation. We imitate our parents. We imitate our elders. We imitate our friends. We imitate our colleagues. We imitate them because we are too scared to look within for
to see what suits me.
To see who I am and what I need. So we're busy borrowing from other people's lives, things that don't necessarily fit our particular lives, our destinies, our purposes, and then we get frustrated. And exactly like he's saying, in doing so, we're unhappy. You choose a whole bunch of ones until you finally realize that you need to deal with this person, heal this person, and then be happiness.
Okay, so many of the comments that were coming through on Facebook when people knew that you guys were coming through and were like, you know, what are your stresses around the holidays and this time of the year? Because holidays do put an added pressure onto relationships. Emotional, physical, financial. Did I get my summer body? Yes. Did I make enough money to take us away for the holidays? Emotional, am I meeting your parents? Are you meeting my parents? Are we hanging out with my aunts? So, and then the stress comes with, and people are like, why are men forever disappearing in December? You guys may laugh, but it's a thing. So from what you guys are saying, and you're going to answer this question, but I'm going to ask you, from what you guys are saying, then it is possible that a man who then disappears in December was a man who wasn't picking himself all year. And all of a sudden, he realizes what he wants, and it happens to not be you, and then he's out.
But then there needs to, my thing with men who do
vile nonsense like that.
Vile nonsense like that.
Yes.
Men who enact such violations to the trust women give them so freely and so willingly and so lovingly. When will you have a sense of accountability in your life to say, if this isn't what I want, I'm going to tell you, stop ghosting women. I'm going to tell you, this isn't what I want because of 1, 2, 3, 4. Because what you're doing is you're leaving this woman with all these issues. Now she's going to have to question herself. What did I do? What happened? What did I say? And you're giving this woman, you're adding on to the insecurities that already exist and prevail in the relationship that you're supposed to not even implant in the relationship. Your presence there was to say, you know, you're okay. You're okay. You know, as my woman, you are okay. And I am here for that. I am here for that. For all the things that you think are flaws, I'm going to love you for that. So when you ghost a woman and unannounced and you leave her with all of these question marks that are going to, that now she has to deal with you leaving. She has to deal with fears of her being inadequate. She has to, my concern with men is this. Man, like, and it's a plea, like I'm pleading with any man that's watching this right now. Stop burdening women with your issues. Stop burdening women with your lack of accountability, your lack of responsibility. If you don't want to be in a relationship, don't be in a relationship. But if from the beginning of the relationship you want to just play around. From the beginning of the relationship, say, listen, I want to just enjoy having sex with you. I want to just have a camaraderie with you. I just want to have a dalliance with you.
But it is in our nature as women to think that, okay, fine, you think that, but I know this is gonna grow. I wanna work that. As much as it's in your nature to want to lie to me, to get me to sleep with you, it is in my nature to think that sex will bring love.
No, but see, then it's incumbent on you to change that. Then that's the fault lies with you. If I told you straight from the beginning what my intentions are, and I didn't say anything about change, then the fault is on you.
Coffee, you've just been nodding on the side thing. Say something to me.
All right, I'm just gonna be very blunt about this. And I'm talking to the men, and I'm not gonna beg. I'm just gonna talk to the men and just say it like it is, because we need straight talk. Men need to grow up, firstly, and men need to stop being cowards, secondly. You see a woman walking down the street minding her business. You approach her. You say everything that you know she would like to hear. You get her defenses down. Once her defenses are lowered, you then go in there, take what you want, and then you leave. After doing so, you leave and repeat the cycle elsewhere. You do it again, you do it again, you do it again, you do it again. You've scarred a whole bunch of women. The men who follow you now have to do the work to help heal these women. And half the time, these women end up destroying these men because they don't know how to believe that they're worthy of love because of what you've done to them. The children that they bear have to live with the scars that you have inflicted on these women. There's a domino effect here. The other thing a lot of guys don't realize in practicing this behavior is that there's a karmic consequence to this. You don't get away with it. You never get away with it. So you'll find many guys who are out here playing these games at some point decide, I'm ready to settle down. I'm ready to do the right thing.
And what do they want? What do they want? They want a woman with no blemishes, with no past issues, with no baggage, with no troubles, with no issues from their past relationship.
And even if you get that woman, because of who you are, and because you have, triggered a set of consequences, she might end up hurting you, even worse than you hurt the other people, because who you are is teaching her how to treat you.
Or that karmic energy follows your child.
Or it follows your child. And we live in this YOLO generation where everyone's saying you only live once. Well, you may only live once, but the consequences of your actions ripple on through time. So what kind of legacy do you really want to leave? Because we call it, being young men, sowing wild oats and all that kind of nonsense. But those oats grow.
And what do they grow?
And what do they grow into?
They grow into, the repercussions are bad, because for all the men you've left to fix your messes, those men get broken. And when these men are broken, they go and
they break more people.
So it's a vicious cycle of just hurt people hurting people, right? So, like you were saying, it's not a plea. Stop being cowards. Men just need to stop being cowards, because we know women love. We know women love. Do not take advantage of that. Do not take advantage of that. Like I'm saying, if you just want to mess around, if you just want to sleep with a woman, say it from the gate that you want to sleep with a woman. There is no shortage of women that just want to sleep around as well.
Yes, which is also
There is no shortage. Women enjoy sex more than men do.
Hey.
Come on. So please, if from the gate you just want to, sow your raw oats, don't lie.
Yeah, also we're going to go to an ad break, but I think for years, like, all we've been fed is this narrative that, like, you know, and all these reasons why it's okay for men to be, you know, as promiscuous, like it's in their nature, you know, men are like this, and there's no way you...
No.
That is a narrative.
No.
And you know, I talked about it not too long ago, how desire and lust have been commercialized.
Yeah.
So now you think you're out here doing the cool thing or YOLOing, whatever the case may be. What you don't understand is you've been programmed to behave this way by society. And there are people who are profiting from this. So for you, it's yeah, I just want to smash there. Yeah. But you need to go
buy a drink.
Buy a drink.
buy the right car.
Buy the airtime.
Please can I go to an ad break? Please can I go to an ad break? All of y'all are being sold. Send your questions in. Kosi Gianna will join myself and the guys after this. Like, I've never been this quiet for this. Welcome back to Real Talk. On this Monday, we're talking relationships and the extra pressure, good and the bad, that the holiday season brings upon us. I'm with Kofi of 40 Puteng, Hakeem Anderson Lesolang, as well as Kosi Gianna is back on the couch with us. Off the bat, there's a voice note, and I'm so glad Kosi's joining us for this because now we're all gonna get stuck in. Roll it.
Hi, Anele. Okay, I asked for space with my partner. And then, while we were having space, he found himself a new girlfriend. And then now he wants us to get back together again with the other girlfriend. Does this mean that our relationship is over and that I'm the desperate party in this relationship?
That ain't your man, girl. I'm sorry, like, unless space is the other girl's name.
She asked for space and he took the universe. He went for the galaxy.
Yeah. So, you know, and this is the trick. You know, for me, part of the question around marriage is around, and I'm saying this with due respect, is around the security of tenure. So we kind of want to know this is my person. This thing, my, that word my. We kind of tend to make people my tablecloth, my this, my that. People have their self. Right? And the fact that we are in relationship does not mean that
I own you or you belong to me.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the greatest disservice that a person can do for you, towards you, is to remain with you when they are no longer there. Yes. So I think, you know, protect me with the truth and rather leave. Yes, I will cry and I will be devastated, but rather protect me with the truth. And so part of, and I don't know in this case, part of the dynamic may be that this space, asking for space was actually a euphemism for something else.
She was just feeling something.
It was just my short leg. But I just didn't have the courage to say, look, what we had, we had. So I used this. Or because something else was already happening, and this was my way of kind of, you know, trying to separate things in some way.
Also, is asking for space, and I mean, like we said, we don't know, is it not like a reverse psychology in, I'm trying to scare you into being a better man?
It could be a whole lot of things.
Why play games?
Why play games though? Like why would you plant a seed in there? Why would you play a game like that? If you need space, give me the reasons why you need the space. If it's me you need space from, if it's the things that I've been doing that you need space from, let me know before you take that leap so we can both try to fix it. If we're in a relationship and we're building towards something, we're building towards a future that we both have deemed to be good enough for both of us, then clearly I want to edge out the nonsense. I'll want to polish off where I'm messing up. I'll want to be better for the relationship. I want to be better for myself. Don't play games and say, I need space, just to see that I can be a better man.
So then you guys, you are basically saying if something is wrong in a relationship, we will close the doors and we'll sit here and we'll work it until it's fine.
Let's take a walk. Let's take a walk and let's talk about it. Let's see why I'm constantly doing this, because you're not pissed off with me because it happened once. Clearly it's a recurring thing that I'm not seeing and I've normalized. I've normalized in the relationship.
So now this is the state of our relationship.
So this is the state of our relationship. I've brought it here. And I've brought it here because you've been silent, or you've been taking it in all along. Why don't be silent with me when I'm doing something wrong and it's hurting you, or it's reminding you of a bad past, or it's reminding you of a memory that triggers pains with you from your childhood. Tell me about it. Tell me about it so I can fix it. First for me, because I need to tear away from the things that are going to ruin what's good for me. Yeah. So tell me about it and let's build together.
Intention is a very powerful thing. So if you make a statement like that, what is your intention? Be very clear about your intentions. At the same time, be very clear about your reasons why you're doing this. What triggered this? If you can be that honest with yourself and that honest with your partner, you can avoid a whole lot of this pain. But to use something like space, and in this modern day, that word is a bomb.
Yeah.
So once you say it without explaining where that's coming from and explaining what you're hoping to achieve by requesting that space, you're potentially creating some serious problems for yourself and for your partner down the road. The other thing is, you were talking about why ladies are deemed clingy and what it means when a man asks for space. Sometimes we just ask for space just to get our mind right and just for peace. But if we don't communicate that, and she comes from a history where she's not used to being ignored, or she sees that as rejection, like you were saying, that's an issue. So let's have that conversation. Again, what are your intentions? What are your reasons?
There's nothing wrong with spacing, it's how you space.
It's how you space,
You can make it part of the relationship, and a healthy part of the relationship, because as much as we may be in relationship together, I am still my own person, and so are you. So this whole thing of thinking that we are now fused at the hip is part of what creates the problem. When we also have an undeveloped self and we become parasitic because we want to live off the self of the other person instead of doing what it takes to become that full self. That still wants a relationship, not because you need it for dear life.
Okay, so undeveloped self, meaning there's a part of you, there's an organ in you that's not developed, and all of a sudden you're going to start using mine.
Exactly.
And now we
it's
have
parasitic.
one liver for the two of us.
It's like we are Siamese twins that share a heart. Doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. Also, this form of loving, that's ball and chain, like it feels like it's a prison. And I'm your warder. Men do that a lot. Men do that a lot, where you're not allowed to go out with your friends on Fridays. Why are you going out with your friends? There's no need. I'm here.
He knows what he does on Fridays.
Because he knows there's all of those, and that's what I'm saying. That men need to deal with a lot of insecurities that they have within themselves by themselves, and not burden women with the issue of fixing them. Right? No ball and chain type of love. Like let a person be free. You are like. I came into this relationship as an individual, with you as an individual, and we build towards something.
I have to go. But
don't go.
I have to go.
Don't leave.
No, we have to go.
Do you want space now?
Yes, I'd like space from you guys. Kofi, I need space. Hakeem, I need space. Kosi, I need space. Cheers, guys. I hope that today's episode brought some insight on how to survive your relationships, especially during the holiday season. It can get messy, but you know what? Where relationships are concerned, I hope that you find a way that will work for you. Ultimately, all relationships begin with you. Work on yourself. Be clear on your whys. Thanks to all my guests, and thank you for welcoming us into your homes. Good night.